So while massive changes have occurred in the NBA in terms of trades, free agency pickups, Kyrie Irving, Chris Paul, Gordon Hayward, all of it.
Twitter.
There is Twitter wars, Twitter feuds, Kevin Durant. There has been
Frank Kaminsky being French.
Well, that's different.
It didn't change. It was always there.
Right. It's always been French. NBA has made a ton of significant on-court changes in terms of officiating and just in rules and also in terms to prevent tanking. So 3 of them right off the bat. Effective with the 2017-2018 season, the maximum number of timeouts in a regulation game will drop from 18 to 14. You can only call 2 timeouts in the final 3 minutes of a game now.
Oh,
so
that's actually pretty big.
Massive change. Yep. Used to be 3, and it also crushed what we used to call garbage time. It was boring and long.
So boring.
So many fouls. Also now that because that's going to change hack-a-shack because you can't afford to start losing all your timeouts if you're going to start. Well, it's not. It's late game. It's going to affect how many times you want to stop the clock. So it actually could lead to more fouls.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Lottery reform has been started to be discussed to prevent tanking, and also replay to review reckless closeouts. I'd like to call that the Zaza Pachulia rule because of players who look like they are flagrantly sticking their legs out to make sure shooters land on their foot or leg and get injured, a la Kawhi Leonard in the NBA playoffs last year.
There's also the James Harden rule.
Which is?
The James Harden rule is when a guy's coming around a screen and he's not really in the act of shooting, but if someone sticks their arm in, awarding that player like James Harden a series of free throws. Right. And that's why he got to the line, whatever it was, 11 times last year.
In James Harden's defense quickly, it's almost a skill at how great he was at doing it compared to the rest of the league.
Yeah, there was a loophole.
He was doing it, yeah.
There was a flaw in the system and he took full advantage of it. What I do like though is once again,
frustrating, but yeah.
Very frustrating. But this is why the NBA is so good about just making changes to a game, and baseball should take note on how to make changes to a game when something is wrong. Like, we all know that James Harden isn't shooting, but someone who just sticks a pinky, right, on his arm, and he's not in the act of shooting, he's pretending to be in the act of shooting, they automatically award him 2 free throws. It was one of my biggest problems with the NBA, more so than the closeout. I know the closeout led to injuries, not a ton, but it led to injuries.
And it can be reviewed.
Because James Harden is just finding a way to deceive the refs, deceive the game to go in his favor. I'm totally fine with what he did because it was a flaw in the system. Now that they've taken away the flaw in the system, my question is, how many times are referees going to, because they're trained to think like this for so long, gonna call the foul when really it just isn't anymore? It's gonna take time for this change to happen. Lastly, real quick, Francis, it was Dante Jones who did it previously to Kobe Bryant. And that's the reason that he tore his Achilles when the Hawks were playing the Lakers. So this is something that has happened previously time and time again. It's good that they're finally doing it. The problem is it always takes being on one of the biggest stages in the NBA in order for it to happen.
I agree.
Because it just should have happened already.
Yeah, I would go back to the point you made about baseball and also reiterate that to American football, which I think needs to be, for different reasons, rules change, which I've always been on Jason Rubin's side of. Get rid of the punt return so that we can just stop having guys going head-to-head contact.
Completely.
I'm sorry, what?
Get rid of the most dangerous part of the game.
And get rid of punt returns, get rid of Thursday Night Football. Like, all these things the NFL could take ownership over. But we know that the NBA values the players' health and the understanding of what the fans want to see, more so than any other organization, I think, in the United States. My sport that I love, obviously football, took a while to really come around to making decisions that they should have changed, such as finally having goal line technology when Frank Lampard smacks a shot from 40 plus yards and it goes 6 yards over the line. I think Manuel Neuer could have laid down and he still wouldn't have been able to touch it inside the goal line. It was that far in, but they never gave him it, and I was laughing because it was England. So, but regardless, the NBA, you're absolutely right. They do a job of understanding that, hey man, like things change. Like we don't need to be the good old days and just have everything the exact same. No, things change, games change, and you have to keep up with those changes in order for your sport to be superior and be at the top of its game. The one thing that I don't know if you did mention before, the rule that I didn't really understand as it was the best procedure was to try and stop players from benching top players towards the end of the season, right?
Oh,
trying to get rid of the rest period. So
well, they addressed the schedule change.
Yeah.
I mean, Charles Barkley, for whatever reason, shredded the schedule change. Being like, you gotta get paid $20, $30, $40 million a year to, like, not to rest. But like,
can we just call a spade with Charles? He's not a good analyst.
No, he's not.
He's a humorous guy sometimes.
He's an entertaining
who
analyst.
literally does. He's admitted to not watching the game.
Yes, he's
so
an
let's
entertainment.
put somebody on the most respected show. Granted, because it's humorous, but let's put somebody who we trust as an NBA voice who has admitted to not watching games and also thinks that sabermetrics are a crock of shit. But hey, respected voice.
I'm fine with him on the NBA on TNT because people should know now that he should not be respected as an analyst of the game.
Yep.
But
especially college basketball.
As an entertainer, as somebody who's funny alongside Shaq, Kenny.
Yeah, that chemistry between him and Shaq.
You can't replace. Yeah, you can't replace that. To your point about the schedule changes, that should help, but it's not going to prevent it completely. And it's annoying because, and what's so funny about this is, like, Popovich just 15 years ahead of everybody else. He's been doing this since 2001, and nobody wanted to start doing it until like LeBron in 2010. And guess who takes the heat for it? LeBron does. This is LeBron's fault. No, it's not. It's Pop's fault. But nobody in their right mind goes, well, criticize Greg Popovich for that. Well, he should be getting the criticism.
I agree.
Fairly. It's not anything wrong. Pop wins. That's what excuses him.
I always made the point is like it was silly to hold teams accountable for putting on entertainment first rather than winning, right? Because I know that we all want to believe that it's an entertainment sport first, but the ultimate goal for teams is to go in and win. So you have no right to tell a team how they should be fielding their starting 11, regardless of what stage it's at, unless they're fielding ineligible players or too many players. It's always down to what that team is going to do to win.